Hello, I'm Jordan Thomas, narrative director of XCOM, and with me here is Harvey Whitney, producer of XCOM.
Hey, thanks for watching today.
He's going to be driving the demo we showed to you today. This is our E3 2011 XCOM demo walkthrough. Now, as Agent Carter, that's what you're fighting for. That child's family and thousands of others like it are the stakes in this conflict with the alien enemy. But here in 1962, Kennedy is president, the Cuban Missile Crisis is threatening to turn the Cold War hot, and your job is to assemble a team of the finest minds in asymmetrical warfare to repel this threat for which there is no field experience. These guys are the analysts who are assembling mission profiles from emergency calls all around the country and feeding it to you and your squad. Our job is a little more direct. What we're going to do is assemble our team and head out into the field, capture the enemy technology, and turn their own weapons against them.
Agent Carter, a real pleasure to meet you. I'm Agent Leon Barnes.
So this guy's Agent Barnes. He can speak to the strengths and weaknesses of all the agents available to you with authority.
Come with me and we'll get you set up for the field.
So, true confession time. 2K Marin is full of big fat RPG nerds like me, and this underground base is a true social space where you can meet with your fellow field officers and discuss strategies to repel the aliens, and sort of look at what it's like to experience the emotional cost of this kind of invasion from within. Now we're going to assemble our squad of agents from the array that Harvey's managed to accrue over the course of the game.
Meet our master at arms. He's an ammo dump on legs, makes his own rounds. First guy you want nearby when you hear the click of an empty chamber. If you're looking for a bruiser, you found your guy. Don't let the dress code fool you. There's other suits made of dead Ruskies.
The agents are the primary channels of player growth in XCOM. We like to say that they're like your left and right hand, and it's up to you to turn each one into a fist. Now, similar to the original games, you've got this big stable of them that you're able to work on and specialize as you play through the campaign. Harvey's already taken a couple of these guys out into the field, and the commando at the top there is ready to purchase a new ability with field experience. So why don't we take a look at what's available? Harvey went with Defensive Shield. That creates a kind of impervious energy bubble anywhere on the battlefield, which can both function as dynamic cover for your team or crowd control for your enemies, where you can separate them from one another. But now that we've got our squad, and you can take 2 agents into the field at once, we'll go ahead and head over to the operations floor and pick our next mission.
You're all set, Agent Carter. And hey, watch your back out there.
As of now, Will, you're in command of XCOM's muscle. Here on the ops floor, we'll supply the brains. But there's one mind in particular I need on the team. A man of singular expertise. That's your next mission.
That's Angela. She's XCOM's division chief. She's former CIA, and her job is to take all of the data that the analysts assemble and turn it into these mission profiles for you to choose between. When we played the original XCOM games, we felt sort of almost overwhelmed with choices in between missions. And so here on the big board, you're able to select between missions that drive the story forward and sort of secondary strategic opportunities in pursuit of a resource. For example, Illyrium 115 is the heavy element that powers all of the alien technology. If we capture that, Harvey can invest it in research and gain long-term growth rewards like new weapons, agent powers, and so on. Or let's say he wants to deploy one of his agents to go on a mission without him, and that agent will come back with new field experience, which he can spend on perks and gear and so on. So let's take a look at what Harvey does next.
Until recently, Dr. Alan Weir was working with Dad, analyzing the alien technology and subverting it to help humanity fight back. A short time ago, we lost contact with him. You and your team will head to his last known location, track him down, and bring him home.
So Harvey's chosen a backbone story mission. Assembling a team of the best also affects the story of the game. If we get Dr. Alan Weir, he will join the base and be able to comment on future missions, and he will also grant XCOM a significant boon in terms of its research potential. So why don't we go ahead and accept that mission and deploy to the field?
And remember, there's no one else like Weir. Try not to break him.
So if that combat intelligence, that fierce hunger to understand the enemy from the inside out is key to what we feel makes an XCOM experience mechanically, the human relationship to the unknown is critical to the themes of this origin story. 1962 in the United States is a political hotbed. You had civil rights taking racial tensions and bringing them to the head. You had issues of gender and sexuality. All of these marginalized voices finally coming to a fever pitch where the ruling elite, who had for so long kind of managed the image of the country, didn't really believe that they belonged. And so it's into that theater that we step now. So here we are in the Sky Ranger. These guys are the agents, and that gear that they're wearing represents the unique powers that each one that Harvey selected will bring to the battlefield. Now, here's a good view of our setting. 1962's American dream at the verge of a tectonic cultural shift. People like Dr. Weir had found themselves persecuted throughout the 50s for their politics or their sexuality. In his case, both. But now he finds himself the scientific belle of the ball. Some of those old lines are beginning to blur and new ones are being drawn. Now we're supposed to make contact with the National Guard. They've set up a perimeter around this community the second that they heard that there might be an alien incursion there. Let's look for someone in charge.
This isn't right. I can feel it.
An empty checkpoint does not bode well. Let's look for signs of life.
What in hell happened here?
Federal agents. Let's see some ID, pal.
That's the face of the alien enemy in XCOM. Collectively known as the Outsiders, they're made of a kind of living technology. That one was an infiltrator class, able to look like any human it wants for purposes of reconnaissance. But what was it looking for? It looks like it had opened the dossier on Dr. Alan Weir. They probably consider him a person of interest because he's been subverting their technology and making it work for humanity. But that alarm means we're not going to catch the rest by surprise. We'd better move quickly. Alone in XCOM, Harvey will get slaughtered. He has to command his agents very precisely in order to survive. This looks like a good opportunity to talk about some of those design revisions that I mentioned. This is the tactical view. It represents Carter's long experience as a field commander. Now, Harvey can sweep around the entire battlefield and look for tactical opportunities. Time is slowed to a crawl, and he can command his agents' powers on a much more granular scale here. On the left is the commando's powers, and on the right, you see the master-at-arms. Harvey has to choose between the more expensive powers and the cheaper ones in order to solve a problem like this. That shield that we're looking at is soaking up too much of his agent's damage. He'll lose if he tries to just trade bullets with these guys all day, so he needs to find a way to solve this problem. It's kind of our real-time take on the classic battlescape of the original games. It looks like Harvey's going for Disrupt. That'll create a kind of feedback loop in the body of that outsider and cause him to drop his guard. Now that simple trick was not enough, so he needs to find a way to take the focus of the fight away from himself and catch these guys in a crossfire. Alright, looks like he's going to go with the diversion power. What that'll do is make that agent appear to be the officer from the point of view of the outsiders.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Harvey was able to take out the generator. What that does is allow his agents to catch these guys in an easy flank. He can use those agent powers outside of tactical mode as well by binding them to the D-pad. The outsiders threaten our world on an existential scale. That living technology they're made out of is both intelligent and highly aggressive. It's part of an ongoing plan to terraform our world and turn it into theirs. That's the university where Dr. Weir lives and works, but the outsiders have beaten us here. They've got a strongly reinforced position, and Harvey's at a real disadvantage. He's going to have to find a way to subvert this situation and make it work for him, using his agent powers.
Shield going up. Right away. Over here.
Harvey chose to counter the strongly reinforced position of the enemy by creating one of his own. He laid down a defensive shield, that power that he purchased back in the base, and created a diversion from inside it. That allowed his agents to soak up all the damage-dealing potential of the enemy, and freed him up to come back here and disable the turret. Now that he's done that, we can capture it. This is another of those design changes that I mentioned. When he folds up the technology that this turret is made out of, he can actually take it with him and use it later in the field.
Yes, Chief.
Capture is one of Dr. Weir's designs. Now that Harvey has the technology for the turret in pocket, he has a choice to make. He can either melt it down for long-term research gains, such as new weapons, agent perks, and so on, or he can press it into service as a member of the squad and command it just like an agent. Whatever he wants to do, we better move on and get to Weir. This time Harvey's just outnumbered. He could solve the problem in a couple of different ways. If he laid down a defensive shield, it would bottle a couple of his enemies and force them to wait while he slaughters their friends. Or he could use a diversion and just split their focus. So what do you want to do, sir? Alright, Harvey's going for the spendthrift playstyle. He wants to drop that turret down right now and give them a taste of their own medicine. Now that Harvey's chosen to deploy the turret in the field like an agent, it has a limited lifespan. It's going to disintegrate pretty quickly, which means we should move on while it's still guarding our back. Now, sometimes in the field you'll come across a novel design. This laser rifle, for example, is not adapted for human use, but if Harvey returns it to the lab, he can actually reverse engineer it and create a version that his agents can wield. In the meantime, we'll strip out the ammo and use it in one of our own alien weapons.
That is one heck of a weapon.
This is the disintegration ray. We've included it here to show the gains of the long-term growth curve in XCOM. If you're willing to invest in research and master the science of the enemy, you can take them on and remove their edge in combat. That's a Titan.
How are we supposed to fight that thing?
Harvey can't attack it in this form. Looks like it's opening some kind of gate. Oh, he's being burned. He has to get inside. That Titan is terraforming this entire courtyard, bombarding it with some kind of cosmic energy and transforming it into something very much like the alien world. But it's far too valuable an opportunity for us not to attempt, at least, to capture it. The trouble is, if Harvey were to try and capture it right now, it would cost him 20 time units. Time units are the sort of currency of combat in XCOM, and Harvey doesn't actually even have 20 to spend, so he's going to have to find a way to weaken the Titan before he captures it. Okay, it looks like he's going to go with some kind of disrupt combo. Harvey's got the Titan on the ropes, but that was the agent with the capture power. He's going to have to find a way to do a combat evac. Defensive shield will protect him from the rain. All right, let's capture that Titan. In XCOM, every enemy is an opportunity. We wanted to tear down the walls between what is traditionally understood to be the game environment, the squad, the enemy AI, and the player. In the right hands, we believe they should all become player tools. Harvey's attracted reinforcements, and this time they've got him in the crossfire. Alright, it looks like Harvey's going to deploy the Titan and use their strongest machine of war against them. Now he can command its airstrikes just like an agent.
Now that is what I call fire!
The Titan doesn't have long to live, so let's press on and find Dr. Weir. That's him, and the enemy have got him. That's XCOM. Thanks for watching, everybody.